the right sort of lean to them. And before you know it, I'm going into Redmond. There's that half-price books. Those railroad tracks. I always think of them as railroad tracks. I know they're not, but they seem like they should be. Oh, there's a little scene. I never thought I'd see a scene around here, but there's a scene. I'm in the left lane. This is where I turn, heading toward the QFC or whatever that thing is. A big parking lot. Looking for a parking spot. In the parking lot. Because the parking lot. In the parking lot. And there it is over on the side. SoulFood. Beans and rice. Gumbo. Crawfish. Anyways, the way it goes. SoulFood. Jambalaya. I'm going to open that jambalaya and read it from cover to cover. And then I'm going to pick up that red beans and rice, and I'm going to read that one from cover to cover. And I'm going to play a little Creole while I read. The soul food. The soul food. I can deal with that. That's good. Nice little design on this thing. Yeah. Well, I got to get here, see. That's the thing. We're fighting the weather. It's a beautiful day, and I wouldn't want to come inside. So, you know. We get a sunset? We live in West Seattle these days, right on Alki. Found this little house, little tiny thing. Get to see the sun. The sun comes up and directly into the house, But when the wind, when it goes down, on the other side, it reflects in the windows of the buildings. So the windows light up in these amazing ways. Let me show you. Let me show you just one. You don't mind, do you? Got one of these phones here, right? I'm going to show you how this works. Okay, this is directly looking from our house. Now what you think? That's the moon. That's the full moon. See that? If I get up close. That's the full moon. Now, this is the award-winning picture of the year. Yeah. Check it out. Check it out. Here, check it out. Real. Check it out. I thought we were being invaded. Okay. probably just going to be us for a while because it is so nice out there. Early in the morning, when the day begins, St. Martha comes a-calling, and you let her in. She is easily as hard as they come, but it's all right now if you don't know. Sooner or later it's bound to show. She walks her right in, she's been there all along, and there is no time to wonder which one of you belong. Just time to collect it all and put it in a drum, and it's all right now if you don't know. Sooner or later it's bound to show. No matter if it's true. Is it really any wonder? Everybody wants to get what comes, but it's all right now if you don't know. Sooner or later it's bound to show. Late inside the midnight as the clock begins to spin, St. Martha will be leaving you, and who could keep her in? She has left you in a corner and you'll be there till dawn, but it's all right now if you don't know. Sooner or later it's bound to show. I met a young girl who sat on a step. I saw her quite clearly, quite early one night. I spoke the first words that came to my head. She sealed my fate when she answered all right. She looked quite old, but she was younger than I. And I asked her how many like me she had seen. I never counted, she said with a grin. I looked at my hand, said, I see what you mean. 'cause the night was wearing thin. She printed my name on the bottom of her shoes. All those who pass by, they can never win. But those who come in, they can never lose. There are many fine seas to part with your hand. Yes, and many fine roads if you know how to choose. To some it's a chance at the axe of the queen. But to one it's a name on an old pair of shoes. Thank you. Oh, hold it. Look at this. Look what I just found. This is the missing piece for that microphone stand. So there you go. I sang this song a bunch of times, and I'm going to sing it a bunch of times more. 'Cause that's a good song to pour. The song was written by a buddy of mine named Joe Paquin. Yeah. He used to sit outside of City Hall, crack a couple of beers, and pray for peace. One time he hitchhiked to Washington, D.C., join in on the march against the war. He used to tell me all the time about the times that they'd let him stand at ease. Then he snapped back to attention, crack another beer and pray for peace. One time he walked to Sacramento, show his dirty feet to Governor Ron. You remember him. Next morning he woke up face down in the desert with next to nothing on. But he'd always shake it off, sing a song to soothe his savage beast. Then he'd wind up in some dive, bum another beer and pray for peace. And the way it is the way it was back then. The way it was is the way it is again. Nothing's changed except those boys are men. At least the ones that lived to see the way it is again. Here we go. Now he's back outside of City Hall, chained to a bench with his old sign. Still says I am a Vietnam veteran, and my battle cry is for no more children dying. And he knows his final breath will be the only thing to bring his soul to ease. Till then he'll keep on keeping on, crack another beer and pray for peace. And the way it is the way it was back then. The way it was is the way it is again. Nothing's changed except those boys and men, at least the ones that lived to see the way it is again. I'm taking my shoes off so that I'm comfortable. Can I do that in here? I hope so. Let's all take our shoes off so we get comfortable. There we go. Too cold for rainbows, too cold for sun. This is a wintertime song. I mean, it's not wintertime now, so it's going to sound kind of weird. You know, what's the other singing about frozen rainbows for? Well, when it's cold enough, a rainbow will freeze. And it's a beautiful thing, but it's got to be real cold to do that. And you don't want to sleep outside when it's cold enough to freeze a rainbow. But if you're homeless, you just might have to. Now, the only way the homeless people can get a little modicum of security and community is to gather together. I think that's the collective fate of humanity anyway, is to gather together. That's just me. What do I know? I only play the guitar. But it seems to me that there would be no other reason for us to exist if it wasn't to take care of each other. And why would you go through all of the energy and the money and the time and the planning to build a state, a political entity called a state, if that state was not designed to take care of the people who live in it? And nowadays, you turn on the radio, you're going to hear some right-winger out there talking about all these lazy bums. All they want is to have the state take care of them. What the hell else is the state for? Oh, that's right, invading people. That's right, I forgot. That's the most important thing. We have to close the libraries now because we're invading people. We've got to close the schools down because we're invading people. We got to cut back on the state health because we're invading people. But if we weren't, if we would just stop invading people, then we could take care of people. But in the meantime, getting back to that frozen rainbow, when it's up there and it looks so beautiful, it's cold. It's cold in Tent City. Too cold for rainbows, too cold for sun, too cold for downpours, but we gonna get one. You better run for cover, rally around that flag. Ain't got a raincoat, I got a plastic bag. Come sit down by the fire, it'll do you some good. Gonna keep it going long as we got firewood. Too cold to sit down, too cold to stand, too cold to say hello, but I can shake your hand. This is where we live now, so come on in. Long as you ain't looking for trouble, you're welcome, friend. Pull the sleeping bag over, batten it down. Try to keep it level so you don't roll out on the ground. Living in America, in Tent City. 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 It's just trickling down, ain't it? Yeah, too cold to be living in tents, too cold to camp. Try to stay dry, everything gets damp. Too cold to be living outside, but you can tell that to the cops. Ain't got no other place to go, and the weather won't stop. Take a letter to the mayor. deliver it for me. Tell him we'd all like to see him down here, keeping good company. Yeah, it's too cold, but what you gonna do? God lives somewhere, and you know it's true. I can't pay the mortgage, I can't afford the rent. After food and bus fare, my money's just about all spent. Take a message to the man, whisper it in his ear. Tell him until we see some changes, we're gonna stay right here. Living in America, in Tent City, Sacramento. Living in America, in Tent City, Dignity Village. Living in America, in Tent City, Nicholsville. Living in America, in Tent City, all over the place. Pretty soon they're going to tear down the Yesser Terrace housing project. And they're going to replace it with something that nobody that lives in the Yesser Terrace housing project will be able to afford. Ain't that just the way it goes? Mr. Grouder used to live in the Yesser Terrace housing project a long time ago, Frank Grouder. He was a small man that had a little dog that he lived with, a little black dog named Curly. Every day, early in the morning when the sunlight arises, cutting through the fog, footsteps softly sound around the corner, Mr. Grouder walking with his dog. Coat collar up, warm against the weather, got his captain's cap riding in place. Daylight brightens and the mist is a-lifting, it's another new day, you can see it on his face. I'm going back to Louisiana one of these days when I'm able and the weather is clear. I'm going back to Louisiana one of these days, but till then I'm gonna stay right here. Until then I'm gonna stay right here. Never made much money in the money world. Never learned to read or to write so well. Never had a vote. He couldn't read the ballot, but he could see fine, just as clear as a bell. He used to work a job in the shipyard docks when years ago he was a younger man. Changes came, they left him stranded and put him out of walking with time on his hands. I'm going back to Louisiana one of these days when I'm able and the weather is clear. Back to Louisiana one of these days, but till then I'm gonna stay right here. Until then I'm gonna stay right here. I'm going back to Louisiana one of these days when I'm able and the weather is clear. I'm going back to Louisiana one of these days, but till then I'm gonna stay right here. Until then I'm gonna stay right here. So every day, early in the morning with his best friend Curly, walking by his side, thinking about family relations away down south is a mighty long ride. Good morning, Mr. Grouder, tell me how you doing. It's a mighty fine day with the sun so bright. Tell me, have you got any plans for the future? Well, I'm gonna take a trip if it works out right. Yes, I am. I'm going back to Louisiana one of these days when I'm able and the weather is clear. Back to Louisiana one of these days, but till then I'm gonna stay right here. Until then I'm gonna stay right here. I got kind of inventive with the chords there in the middle of the song. I hope that was okay. Interesting voicings I was just experimenting with. That's a really good mocha, thank you. That is awesome. If you're going to order a drink, you got to order a mocha. Tell them I sent you. Tell her I sent you. Okay. Well, this song was going out over the sound system when I walked in, but I'm going to play it anyway. Because I like it. And it's getting kind of tropical out there. And this is a song about a town on a tropical island. It's a big island. And it's a country, but it's also an island. It used to be called Formosa, now it's called Taiwan. Oh yeah, I know, it's disputed territory. Some people say it belongs over here, some people say it belongs over there. But irregardless, it's a beautiful place. It's a tropical island. And the little town is called Mainong, and it's about as big as Redmond. Well, downtown Redmond. In Mainong, in the valley of the butterfly, time doesn't go very fast. Things just seem to last. In Mainong, I saw a butterfly dance like a butterfly does. Made me think about how clumsy I was. In Mainong, I saw a man on a bicycle balancing a load of wood. His balance was that good. In Mainong, I saw a family of 5 on a motor scooter going out for a drive. In Mainong, in Mainong. And it's a big around world. Yes, it is all around the world. It's a big around world. Yes, it is all around the world. In Mainong, there was a temple on the hillside. I prayed to the Buddha for the flower to open up wide. In Mainong, I drank the good strong ginger tea, and it agreed with me, yes it did. In Mainong, everything grew, tomato and a pepper and a beetle nut too. In Mainong, I ate the green grass, the fish and the squid, and everybody else did too in Mainong. In Mainong. And it's a big around world. Yes, it is all around the world. It's a big around world. Yes, it is all around the world. In Mainong, there was a melon so sweet, juicy on my sweater, and something like an apple, only better. In Mainong, the sun flew by on a butterfly breeze, the ricochet wing way up in the trees. In Mainong, my spirit got lighter and my head got clear. I thought to myself, I'm gonna stay right here in Mainong. In Mainong. And it's a big around world. Yes, it is. All around the world. It's a big round world. Yes, it is. All around the world. And Menon, all around the circle eternity flows. But after a while you gotta go, I suppose. And Menon, everybody's got a home and I got mine. And don't say goodbye, say see you next time, and Menon. Menon. And it's a big around world. Yes, it is all around the world. It's a big round world. All around the world. And it's a big around world. Yes, it is all around the world. It's a big around world. Yes, it is all around the world. Thanks. I'd like to send this song out to Michelle Bachman, who is on my guest list and may or may not be coming to the gig. Was that? Well, Bill's always on the guest list. He knows that. Because Bill doesn't have, he doesn't have much money. He doesn't have some people just, he's either on the guest list for free or it's like a discount, But with Michelle, it's an emotional thing. There's a crowd outside my window. I can hear them in the street. It's a new evangelistics in a missionary heat. Saviors of the innocent, guardians of right. It's the day before tomorrow, in the middle of the night. They got shiny white faces, sing a faraway song. They show you pictures of Jesus as a blue-eyed blonde, riding like a savior on a big white horse. One hand bearing gifts and the other hand to enforce. Fundamental frenzy, fundamental rage. Fundamental frenzy taking us back to the Middle Ages. Now the devil is a foreigner, yes he is, and he has to be destroyed throughout this great wide world where his demons are deployed in anybody's country, on anybody's sea. When you're exorcising evil, you invent your own morality. And in the language of the prophecies, they talk about a time when they wage the final battle for the kingdoms of divine. And in the valley of the showdown, the fires will rage, and God's ferocious hand will turn the final page. Fundamental frenzy, fundamental rage. Fundamental frenzy taking us back to the Middle Ages. So now they're counting down the hours in the grains of sand as they reach for Armageddon with their eager little hands. And there's an idol on a nose cone, triggered to explode, and a disappearing future at the end of the glory road. Now I don't mind your religion or the cut of your clothes, but I gotta keep my eye out to where your shadow goes. You wanna meet your maker, that's your choice to choose. You wanna take me with you, I'm gonna have to refuse. Fundamental frenzy, fundamental rage. Fundamental frenzy taking us back to the Middle Ages. Thank you. Oh, I knew what I was going to do. I know what I was going to do. I haven't played this song very much in a while. Oh yeah, that is my tip jar right there, that cardboard thing. And you know how much gas costs these days. I ride bicycle, and on my route, I go by this house which is all painted red, white, and blue. It's amazing. I mean, the guy lives in a flag. It's phenomenal, you know. And I stop and I look at it, and I wonder, kind of, you know, what is he like? He's probably solving a wound of some kind. You know, I mean, one of the founders of Iraq Veterans Against the War told me that it is almost impossible to tell somebody who's come back from a combat zone who either lost somebody or was severely wounded themselves. It's almost impossible for them to admit that the combat they were involved in was wrong. It's almost impossible. There is way, way, way too much at stake. And so when I look at the house, I think it's probably something like that. It might not be a wound, physical. It might not be, you know, that he lost somebody, but he's making up for something with his house. I have to ride by that, and I have to know when I look at it. But it makes me want to say something about the ongoing, incredible greatness that we're supposed to live in. I have a picture somewhere of the gates to Buchenwald. The famous one is the gate to, I think, Auschwitz. It says, Arbeit macht frei, which means work makes you free. That's the famous one. But that isn't the one for me that does it. That's not the one that does it for me. The one that does it for me is Buchenwald. The motto over the gates to Buchenwald is, I don't know how it's, I don't know what it is in German. I can't remember. But in English, it's my fatherland, right or wrong. That's the one that does it for me, because that's a bumper sticker in this country. My country, right or wrong. That's a bumper sticker. We've all seen it. And it's a really, really, really stupid thing to say. Because if you lived like that, you would never arrest anybody for murder. Ted Bundy would still be walking around. The Green River Killer would still be walking around because my neighbor, right or wrong. My son, right or wrong. You know what I mean? You could never, ever enforce justice. So anyway, this song. I saw the pictures from the prison in Iraq. The man on the box with his hands on the wires and his head in a sack. The man in the hallway with his neck tied to a leash line. The cigarette grins of the soldiers giving at the high sign. Well, I wish you could believe it when they said it was an aberration. And just a few bad apples in an otherwise smooth operation. But there's just too many cracks in that tired old ruse. And now everybody gets to see Uncle Sam's got blood all over his brand new shoes. His brand new shoes, and there's something about us that we don't want to have to face. And there's a killer instinct deep in this American race. And just ask anyone who's been on the other end of that leash, and they'll tell you. Selective memory loss is like a panacea. Big city cops took an immigrant man named Abner Louima, and they brought him downtown and they sodomized him with a toilet plunger. Never would have talked with somebody, and the story came out from under. Now I know what you're thinking, cops ain't soldiers, but sometimes the line gets blurred, and they've been scratching each other's back for a while now, I've heard. And when there's a war around the world, you know that there's a war at home. And they will do whatever they want to you, and they get you alone. Get you alone, and there's something about us that we don't want to have to face. And there's a killer instinct deep in this American race. And just ask anyone who's been on the other end of that leash, and they'll tell you. You want to really understand it, you gotta go back a ways. Back to the founding mythologies of what they call the good old days. The Wild West, guns in everybody's hand. The violence was good then. It gave us a motherland. Now sometimes things got out of control, and they crossed that unspeakable line. Cutting off body parts and wearing them around. I guess soldiers just do that sometimes. Well, use your imagination. You know that they were feeling good. You know they would have taken pictures if they could. There's something about us that we don't want to have to face. And there's a killer instinct deep in this American race. Just ask anyone who's been on the other end of that leash, and they'll tell you. We got 2 million people in prison right now, over 2 million, and we're going to have more. And I shudder to think about what I've heard goes on behind those doors. It's just the worst kind of sex and violence, and we know that's a fact. But nobody cares about it too much until it shows up in Iraq, and I guess that's the problem. We don't seem to be able to make a connection. We think we're some kind of chosen people. We're waiting for a resurrection, but our Savior is a con man, and he's looking up for number one. He'll give you $24 worth of junk jewelry and take it back at the point of a gun. At the point of a gun, and there's something about us that we don't want to have to face. And there's a killer instinct deep in this American race. And just ask anyone who's been on the other end of that leash, and they'll tell you. 'Cause there's something about us that we don't want to have to face. And there's a killer instinct deep in this American race. And just ask anyone who's been on the other end of that leash, and they'll tell you. 'Cause there's something about us. Oh, yeah. never thought I'd come under attack, but now the world is changing, there's no going back. And danger at my shoulder and it's gaining fast. Questions I'm afraid of, but I have to ask, who are they? And why do they hate us? Well, I was raised to believe in this American dream, all the greatness and glory, the way that it seemed, how God was on our side and God doesn't lie. So why do all those innocent people have to die? Who are they? And why do they hate us? Every color in the cloth has a history to tell. Ships across the ocean and the Liberty Bell. Heroes in the monuments, I know them by name, but now their granite jaws are shattered and their eyes are full of rain. My neighbor, she's a foreigner, I can't pronounce her name. When she talks about her homeland, her face fills with pain. She says she lost her children when the missiles hit. I don't know what to say, so I just change the subject. Who are they? And why do they hate us? I see the TV news and they're burning my flag in some faraway land where it's just another rag. The looks on their faces, they make me freeze. How in the world did we make so many enemies? Who are they? And why do they hate us? Tell me there are reasons for unthinkable acts. Rage and retribution won't bring anybody back. Justice is alive, so subtle and sublime. Well, I'd like to believe them, but we're running out of time. I never paid much attention, guess I should have known. Every faraway country is somebody's home. Empires rise and empires fall. The world is big enough, there should be room for us all. Who are they? And why do they hate us? You know I was always the one, I could never stand idly by. I watched while the bullies beat up on the weaker ones. I had to do something to try. And I never gave up on people, that we could be better somehow. Morality's compass, you gave it to me, and I still follow it now. Well, I couldn't stop thinking about it. No, I couldn't get it out of my mind. The pictures, the stories, the plight of the people in the occupied Palestine. And how my government makes me complicit with the political aid that they send. So I packed up my bags and I headed to Rafah to work with the ISM. And I'd rather be dancing, dancing and falling in love. But if I can just watch from the distance, and what am I made of? Mama, these people are so good to me. They treat me like a one of their own. They feed me and see to my needs. They let me sleep in their homes. Papa, their lives are so hard. The gunshots every night, the roadblocks, the strip searches, humiliations. Papa, it just isn't right. Well, I can feel my privilege. It's there in my American face. I could wave my passport around like a flag and I would be safe in this place. For these child soldiers of Israel, they look like the boys back home. And if it wasn't for American money, they'd have to leave these people alone. And I'd rather be dancing, dancing to Pat Benatar. Oh, but somebody has to do something about it, and here we are. The tractors are coming today. They're like tanks with bulldozer blades. The name on the side says Caterpillar, and that means they're American made. Well, I am American too, and I'll be where everybody can see. So if they want to run over those houses today, they're gonna have to run over me. Well, it's dangerous taking a stand, but it's dangerous running away. And sometimes you have to face up to the danger. There is just no other way. For there is just beautiful dreams I have seen in the eyes of a child. And if I can just make one little difference, then I think my life is worthwhile. And I'd rather be dancing. Instead I'm saying goodbye. We'll meet again when it's over, don't cry. And I'd rather be dancing, and surely we'd all rather be. And someday we'll dance in the world that's peaceful and free. Thank you. We're getting some darkness out there now, finally. Is everything okay? Can you hear everything okay? Is it all right? How's the table service? Awesome, yeah. Terrible. Get out of here. I know this. Huh? It's way over there where you are. Yeah, well, I'm really close to the potbelly stove, so I get all the, I get all the heat. I always think that's a potbelly stove. From here, it looks just like one, except that the pipe isn't connected anywhere. The room should be filling with smoke. I know, it's great in here. I love it. Clint comes in and sets the sound, and then he leaves. What? Clint button? Okay, don't forget my tip jar here now. I know what that's like. I won't even look. I know, I won't even look, so that when you put that $100 bill in there, I won't be embarrassed. I know how that goes. People over here in Redmond, where Bill lives. Actually, he doesn't live in Redmond, he lives in Medina, but that's close enough. I wonder, does he do house concerts, do you suppose? Does he? I'm going to get on to him about that, doing a house concert at Bill's house. Would you? Yeah. Bring him on down. Have you? Is it true that you can decide, you can choose the aroma of the room you go into, or at least the music that you go into?
Yeah, well, the music certainly, but
Maybe the aroma's an invention.
he's got a very calming, because Belinda slapped him upside the head before she said, "I cannot move into that house the way you have it."
It looks like the inside of a computer. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, they're not exactly the best of friends, so, you know. I've always wanted to know, is Paul Allen's submarine yellow? I have to loosen up my fingers because I want to finger pick for a while. Shady Grove, my true love. Shady Grove, my darling. Shady Grove, my true love. I'm going back to Harlem. Well, I wish I had a big white horse, shoulders deep and wide. Shady Grove along with me, around the world we'd ride. Shady Grove, my true love. Shady Grove, my darling. Shady Grove, my true love. I'm going back to Harlem. Well, it's apples in the summertime, peaches in the fall. I can have my Shady Grove, I won't have none at all. Shady Grove, my true love. Shady Grove, my darling. Shady Grove, my true love. I'm going back to Harlem. Wake up, mama. Don't you sleep so hard. Wake up, mama. Don't you sleep so hard. Don't you hear these blues walking all over your yard? I got these blues, I'm not satisfied. I got these blues, all right. I'm not satisfied. Well, that's the reason why I stole away and I cried. Blues grabbed me at midnight, wouldn't turn me loose till day. Grab me at midnight, wouldn't turn me loose till day. I didn't have nobody to drive these blues away. Big star falling, Mom ain't long before day. Big star falling, ain't long before day. Maybe the sunshine this time drive these blues away. Oh, yeah. You think about what song you're going to play next while you're playing the song you're playing. And then sometimes when you finish the song you're playing, you kind of focus on the ending and the chord and everything, and then you forget what it was you were thinking. Oh, come on. Something's off. Bill's whole house is probably a tuning machine, I would guess. Huh? I was going to make a a joke. I was going to make a joke about the cash register being a musical instrument. Sometimes I think about the folks back home. That 12-mile stretch of road that we used to roam. Sometimes I think about a little girl named Willie Jean. Did she ever get as far as New Orleans? We used to walk hand in hand down by the riverbank, drink hot water from an old railway tank. She turned into a woman at the age of 17. Did she ever get as far as New Orleans? We used to lie on a hilltop, catch that rising sun, walk down by the river to see that old river run. Oh God, it was easy then to make her feel just like a queen. Did she ever get as far as New Orleans? My mama used to tell me, son, don't you ever come to harm. Well, hey, look at me here, people. I'm on this goddamn county farm. You know, sometimes I lie awake just thinking about sweet Billie Jean. Did she ever get as far as New Orleans? Sometimes I think about the folks back home. That 12-mile stretch of road that we used to roam. Sometimes I think about a little girl named Willie Jean. Did she ever get as far as New Orleans? Oh, the cuckoo, she's a pretty bird, and she warbles, warbles as she flies, and she never hollers cuckoo until the fourth day of July. I'm gonna build me a log cabin up on a mountain so high, so I can see all the people as they go passing by. Well, sometimes, well, I wonder what makes women love men. And then sometimes, well, I wonder what makes men love them. Oh, the cuckoo, she's a pretty bird, and she warbles, warbles as she flies, and she never hollers cuckoo until the fourth day of July. Well, I played cards in England, and I played cards in Spain, and I'll bet you $10 that I can beat you next game. Jack of diamonds, Jack of diamonds. Well, I know you of old. You have robbed mine. Poor pockets, they're silver and they're gold. Oh, the cuckoo, she's a pretty bird, and don't I wish she were mine? If she'd never drink of water, she would only drink wine. She put her feet beside me and the sun was going down. She told me all the secrets, all those candles back in town. 7 minutes elsewhere, and it rained with all its might. The sun had long since gone, and yet it stayed up all that night. She held her eyes both in her hands and gave them both to me. The avalanche exploded and a slave somewhere broke free. Yes, all these songs taste like a lilac wine. I must taste them all sometime. I went out for a walk among the rain, among the snow. The wind blew like a cistern and I had no place to go. I saw a man was lying with his face into the wet. His coat was torn, he whimpered, and broken glass, a cigarette. My eyes were filled with alleys as I helped him to his feet. He thanked me with a smile and I walked off down the street. Yes, all these songs, they taste like Arabian wine. I must taste them all sometime. Sister spoke with innocence, she drew her bolt aside. Stay here if you must, I know exactly what you need. She smiled like a fireside, one hand upon the bell. I asked her if she knew, and if she knew, how could she tell? She laughed and pointed with her Jesus to the sky. This is what you need, and what you need is when you die. She offered me some wine, I saw her hand white as bone. I told her I was lost, and could she show me my way home? She laughed again, twinkled, and her hood fell to the side. And I heard her say, right here with me among the fireside. I excused myself and left her, and I left her all alone. She with no relations, and I with no way home. Yes, all these songs, they taste like sacred wine. I must taste them all sometime. Oh yeah, that's what we're talking about. I forgot to say I brought some CDs down with me, and I forgot to mention them. They're right here. Yeah, this is a finite engagement. I have only so much time, and so I don't stop. I just keep playing. Put these out. All different. They're $15.80 a piece. And I'm going to do a song now off of this one called Seattle Songs. Okay. So you know. They're all worth it, I'll tell you. Every one of them. I personally, if I didn't already own them, I would pay twice that much. Oh. Easily, if I didn't already own them. It's kind of a mellow night. I kind of feel that way, so I'm playing that way. I hope that's all right. I have a friend named Paul Pierce. Paul lives in Ballard, and he is an architect. And one of his claims to fame, well, he has a couple of claims to fame. First of all, he was a member of a band called Pirimplezak, which was three architects, Pierce, Dalrymple, and Konzak. They put their names together and came up with Pirimplezak, which is one of my all-time favorite band names. It's a hell of a lot better than Crosby, Stills, and Nash. I mean, they could have at least done something clever with it. Anyway. And another one of his claims to fame is that he designed Gasworks Park. And this song is called Gasworks Park. Early in the evening, we go walking in the park in the evening, do a little talking in the dark of the evening, just she and me. See the way the moon flies like a kite up in the night skies, shine upon the Gasworks Park by the Union Sea. Oh, there's a sign in the water, says don't go in the water. There's something in the water that they don't want you to get on your skin. Oh, but the lights of the city make it look so pretty, and one of these days we're gonna leave the city behind. And there is little to be what it appears to be. It's an illusory situation. You can do anything, be anyone, and get your mind undone. It's a simple equation, and it's a tiny spark in the Gasworks Park. Oh, in the town that I was born in. Oh, they got up every morning, went to work and came home in the evening, and it was always the same. I could have followed in the footsteps, I don't know why I didn't, but something in my thinking wouldn't allow me to jump on that train. And there is little to be what it appears to be. It's an illusory situation. You can do anything, be anyone, and get your mind undone. It's a simple equation, and it's a tiny spark in the gasworks park. So early in the evening we go walking in the park in the evening, do a little talking in the dark of the evening, just she and me. Yeah. No, what? I don't have much time left. Okay. Yes, I guess this is a very sad song. I guess this is a very sad song when you think about it like that. It's a tragic song, in fact. Did I say I have a tip jar? I think I did. It's right there. It says donations on it. And you know how much gas costs. You know how much gas costs. Did I say I have CDs for sale? I think I did. I have a friend who's a geneticist down in San Francisco. She works for Genentech or Genentech. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I always think of her when I sing this song. Oh, you're never alone, you're never alone, never alone with your clone. You're never alone, you're never alone, never alone with your clone. You can go out for the night and still stay at home. You can call yourself on the cellular phone. You don't need a mirror to see how you've grown. You're never alone with your clone. Or you can talk to yourself and it won't look weird. You can shave every day and still grow a beard. Have your duplicate personal re-engineered. You're never alone with your clone. Oh, you're never alone, you're never alone, you're never alone with your clone. You're never alone, you're never alone, never alone with your clone. And you can walk all the time in the other guy's shoes. You can give up your life for the cause that you choose and watch the reports on the evening news. You're never alone with your clone. Or with the bifocal schizophrenic occurrence standing in for yourself on a feat of endurance, you can kill yourself, collect the insurance. You're never alone with your clone. Oh, you're never alone, you're never alone, never alone with your clone. You're never alone, you're never alone, never alone with your clone. And And you can suffer the victim and be your own thief, both sides of the law. Above and beneath, you can be your own dentist and pull your own teeth. You're never alone with your clone. You can marry yourself if the laws will allow. Have sex with yourself, but don't ask me how. Immediate, instant, the future is now. You're never alone with your clone. Oh, you're never alone. You're never alone. You're never alone with your. You're never alone. You're never alone. You're never alone with your. And if you cloned your own clone in multiplication, there would be no division in your population, and you could be your own United Nation. You're never alone with your clone. And clone upon clone, like a fish isn't bread, you could so fruitfully settle and spread until the whole wide world was identically bred. You're never alone with your clone. As above and below, an immaculate view, you would look just like God, who would look just like you, and there would be nothing that you couldn't do. You're never alone with your clone. You could write your own warning upon your own wall, a monotonous saying that's a clarion call, then you would go crazy. So would we all. You're never alone with your clone. Oh, you're never alone. You're never alone. Never alone with your clone. You're never alone. You're never alone. Never alone with your clone. Okay, I got time for two more songs. I got time for two more songs if I do that laughing one song, because that's the longest sort of a thing. Oh, thank you. Thank you. So I got to do one more song besides that one. So, what am I going to do? Let me think. I got to think. Good night now. Are you leaving? There's only 10 minutes. There's like... Yeah, sure. Oh, that's a good idea. Those two will go together. Good. Good. Now we're going to get into the religion. I am not religious at all. Not at all. I do Facebook, you know, and it's like I run into. I love getting into these conversations. Somebody posted something about how they were reading Joseph Campbell, right? You know, which is interesting enough, you know, and talking about mythologies. And I just made a comment: one man's myth is another man's religion. You know, I mean, I have a Catholic friend. No offense intended. But I made a reference to Catholicism being a mythology. He gets angry. And I thought, wait a minute. If it's your mythology, it's religion. If it's someone else's, it's mythology. Come on. You know, I mean, we're still waiting for evidence of any of this stuff. You guys talk about. But anyway, another story. So I make that comment. And then he comes back an hour or so later, or the next day, or whatever it was, about how science is the new religion. And so I can't help myself. I say, religion is based on the, how do I put it, the abrogation of critique. There's no critique allowed. They call it suspension of disbelief. What that means is you don't criticize. You don't criticize. If you criticize, religion collapses. Science is based on criticism. If you don't criticize, science collapses. If you do criticize, religion collapses. So there is no way possible that science could ever be a religion. And I haven't heard back from him yet. Anyway, I love getting into these conversations. I absolutely love it. You're not supposed to talk about religion, and I don't know why. I always do. I love it. A number of years ago, 20 years ago, something like that, I was walking around Green Lake with a friend of mine, a guy named Billy James. He's down in Bay Area now. He was in L.A. at the time. And he was up with his new little baby in a stroller, and we were walking around Green Lake. And he was wearing a button, about so big. And on the button was a stylized representation of Michelangelo's David, which is a nude. And on the representation, there was a fig leaf over the genitalia and a circle around with a line through it. And it was a comment on, you know, it was at the time when the right wing was beginning to raise its head, and they were is starting to pull away all the funding for the arts because of the Mapplethorpe incident. Now, I never even saw any of the Mapplethorpes. I'm not into, I don't, it doesn't draw me. Sorry, so I never even saw it. I kind of read about it, thought, okay, fine, whatever. I don't, whatever. I don't care. But whatever. It's just, it's the world. Lives, it's the world. It's a lot less, it's less dangerous than the Marine Corps. Let's put it like that. John Mapplethorpe is less dangerous than the Marine Corps, and we support the Marine Corps. So anyway, John Mapplethorpe never invaded anybody. He just made some pictures that some people didn't like. So anyway, we're walking around Green Lake. He's wearing that button in reference to religious-sponsored censorship. And we get to talking about things. And he had taken a college course in religious history, which is a fascinating subject. It's just fascinating. It's like every time we try to make progress, they come along and step on it, You ever see that movie, Agora? Oh, that needs to be seen. The first person to understand the orbits of the planets in the solar system was a woman. Her name was Hypatia. She was a philosopher, and it was like, what year was that? 400 or something? I think it was like 400, something like that. It was a library in Alexandria. She'd figured it out, and she was giving classes on it and everything. And the Christians, yes, the Christians attacked. Yes. They killed her. Yes. And they killed other people. Yes. And they destroyed everything in the library, burnt it, and it was 1,200 years, 1,200 years before anybody figured out those orbits again. The Christians. Agora, that's the name of the movie. Agora was the marketplace in front of the library where they hung out and talked. Is in, Library of Alexandria. Yeah. Isn't that wonderful? 1,200 years before they figured it out again. So anyway, we're talking about this stuff. We're talking about history of religion, and he tells me a story about a convent in the Middle Ages. These nuns, it would have been a Catholic convent then, I guess. And they were, it's mind-boggling. Oh my God, it's mind-boggling. They knew that God was watching them at all times. It's paranoid. It's completely paranoid. Completely, totally paranoid thinking. God is watching you at all times. All times. And he's dangerous. And he's nasty. And he's not in a good mood, and he doesn't want you to misbehave. It's a typical alcoholic father thing. It just is. The alcoholic father comes home drunk, beats you up, and it's your fault. That's what God does. Comes home drunk, beats you up, and it's your fault. Kills everybody on the planet, it's their fault. Whatever. So they knew that God was watching them, and they couldn't take their clothes off in the eyes of God because they couldn't be naked. God would get mad. So they developed a system of, they had these like burlap sacks or something that they put over them, so that they could take their clothes off under the burlap sacks, bathe, put their clothes back on, take the burlap sacks off, so that God wouldn't see them naked. And he's telling me this story, and my mind is just going around like a pinball machine because I'm thinking, wait a minute, if God can see through walls, he can see through your clothes. This is a totally moot argument, entirely, So I wrote this little song, and it's very disrespectful. But it's also very funny. It's not very long. And it's called You're Naked Underneath Your Clothes. And it goes like this. Oh. You're naked underneath your clothes. Everybody knows. 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 Your mother had a baby. It was you now. What do you think your mother did do to have that little kid? She had sex with your father. That's what she did. You're naked underneath your clothes. Everybody knows. You're naked underneath your clothes. Everybody knows. Well, there's a moldy old Bible in the kingdom come, and there in the closet was a bathtub nun. She'd like to get clean, but she don't know how, 'cause God might see her through the wall somehow. You're naked underneath your clothes. Everybody knows. You're naked underneath your clothes. Everybody knows. So get with it. Get real. Look in the mirror, tell me, how do you feel? You got an animal face, a flesh and bone. Do you really want to spend your life alone? You're naked underneath your clothes. Everybody knows. You're naked underneath your clothes. Everybody knows. Well, I'm sorry, my friend, but I don't believe there ain't nothing but morality up your sleeve. I shudder to think, should I stick around and see just what your morality might be? You're naked underneath your clothes. Everybody knows. You're naked underneath your clothes. Everybody knows. So get with it. Get real. Look in the mirror, tell me, how do you feel? You got an animal face, a flesh and bone. Do you really want to spend your life alone? You're naked underneath your clothes. Everybody knows. You're naked underneath your clothes. Everybody knows. And now I'd like to finish up, ladies and gentlemen, with this song. And this is one of my favorite songs. I wrote this real fast, and it was very easy to memorize, even though it's quite long. I wrote it after my trip to Taiwan, where my host at the bed and breakfast took me around on Sunday morning to meet all of his friends. I guess he hadn't had an American staying at his B&B or always wanted to, or something, whatever. He just took me around to meet everybody. And one of the places that he took me to was this Buddhist temple. And there were these old guys in the back. They were smoking really strong cigarettes and drinking really strong tea. And they were just kind of, a little bit out of their skulls, And I didn't know what to do. I couldn't talk to them. They couldn't talk to me. I didn't speak their language. Didn't speak mine. So I went out to the car to get my guitar. I, got his keys because I was playing a festival. And he was going to drive me off to the festival. So my guitar was in the back. So I got the keys, I got the guitar out. And as I'm going back in, the temple is all covered with all of these characters, whatever they're, sculptures everywhere. Dozens of them, dragons and stuff. And I remember one guy with a big beard and a sword, and he was going to lop somebody's head off, And then there was this, I called him the laughing deity. There's this guy over on the side there just laughing his ass off. Laughing. Did a huge cosmic joke laugh. And I looked at it and I thought, if I have to live in the world with gods, I want one like that. I want one that's laughing. I don't want these ones that give floods and fires and boils and insects and locusts and, oh my God, this horrible. I want one that's laughing. So there were some points I wanted to make about my outsider's view of Christianity, where the morbid sort of, I'm sorry, it's just morbid. It's morbid. It's morbid. The guy's hanging by the neck until dead, right? And they're wearing him around. His firing squad. They're wearing firing squads around their necks. I mean, it's just morbid to me because that's what that is. The crucifix is a firing squad, lethal injection, however you want to say it. That's just how they did it back then. Sacred symbol, my ass. It's a fucking, it's what it is. That's how they killed people. It's a gun to your head. It's not something children should have to see. So how do I get these things across without insulting people? Well, I would create a conversation between the laughing deity and Jesus, who is in a bind because the people that say they love him won't let him down. And he's been up there for so long, it's just really tiring, and he would really just like to get out of that mess. And there he is. So it's just, everything just fell into place. Oh my God, it almost took as long to write. It probably took twice as long to write as it does to sing, because your hand is slower than your mouth. But it just fell out because I'd been thinking about it for so long. None of the last few songs that I've sung are on any of these CDs, but these CDs are really, really good. And I know that those of you that might have one or more of them need another one. I know that. I know that. If your friends need them, people you don't know need them. You know what I'm saying? This is called Jesus and the Laughing Deity. And it goes like this. Well, it was in the great cathedral when nobody was around. Just Jesus on the cross beams, wishing he could get down. When a stranger came in riding on a dusty old horse, and the stranger, he was laughing, respectfully, of course. Why so glum, the stranger said, it's such a beautiful view. Jesus said, Jesus, don't you know who you're talking to? And who are you to interrupt my sacred misery? Oh, I thought you knew, the stranger said, I am the laughing deity. Laughing deity, said Jesus, well, I have my doubts. Besides, I don't know what there is to laugh about. I've been beaten up and spat on and riddled through with spears, and I've been hanging from this damn thing for 2,000 years. Well, that's a shame, said the deity. Somebody ought to take you down. You don't look so good. I know a doctor downtown. You could get gangrene. This place is full of rats. Ain't no way to treat a savior. Leave him hanging like that. Leave him hanging like that. Jesus said, Jesus, as he cried a bloody tear. People say they love me, but they keep me up here. They think that if I'm miserable, they won't have to feel so bad. If I could get out of this place, I swear I'd go to Trinidad. Well, don't you have a famous father who could lay this place to waste? Yeah, I do, said Jesus, but this was his idea in the first place. Don't ask me to explain it, it would take too long. Families like mine, you have to learn to get along. Now the deity distracted and his mouth began to smile, and he realized he hadn't had a good laugh in quite a while. But there ain't no sense in laughing all alone, says he. Jesus, come on, Jesus, laugh with me. Yeah, come on, laugh with me. Jesus said, Jesus, you must be out of your mind. I may be many things to many people, but I ain't the laughing kind. Well, you better learn to be. The deity replied, can't get much worse. You're already crucified. Yeah, but what about these nails? I mean, they got me hanging up here like a trophy. Oh, those things are only as strong as you allow them to be. Sackcloth and nails, hardwood cross beams and glue. Start laughing loud enough, ain't no telling what they might do. Now the deity, Jesus said, Jesus. Oh, wait a minute. Jesus said, Jesus with a furrow in his brow. I used to laugh a long time ago, but I kind of forgot how. That's all right, said the deity. You'll get it back. You just need a little something to help lubricate the laugh track. You ever hear the one about the humans? He said he got a right up to his ear, and he whispered in a punchline that we will never hear. And Jesus, well, his composure, it started to erode, and then he broke out with a laugh like the world would explode. Like the world would explode. And his laughter ricocheted like a fusillade of thunder, and the great cathedral shuddered from the miracle and wonder. And after a while, when he finally settled down, well, Jesus and the deity, they were both standing on the ground. Jesus said, Jesus, how'd I get down? My hand is side is healed, my hand is healed, I'm walking around. It's like I just woke up and shook myself and watched myself appear. I haven't felt this good in 2,000 years. Except, said the deity, Suspend your disbelief. You don't have to always be so serious. Life is way too brief. It's your second chance, my friend. It's a brand new you. No one will even recognize you. You can do what you want to do. Yeah, but what about my followers when they come here looking for me? Yeah, that's all right, said the deity. There's still that other you, and sure enough, there he was, so high up in the dust, abandoned and forlorn, just like he always was. Jesus said, Jesus, let's get out of here. And they both got on that dusty old horse, and the way they disappeared, they could have ridden off into the sunset, but they went the other way, into where the sun rises, 'cause it's better that way. Yeah, it's better that way. Now, there are many morals to be had in story and in song. Be careful not to misinterpret, or you might just get them wrong. Some worlds are full of demons, and some are filled with light. It don't matter what you're looking at if you can't see it, right? So if you want some explanations in these great vast mysteries, well, there are many ways to follow, many different directories. Some will leave you hanging, some will give you a better view. The choice is there before you, and I'll leave it up to you. I'll leave it up to you. Boy, I made a mess of that. I'm sorry, but you got the general idea. Thanks a lot.